Well, welcome on in to Battlehawks Hub Weekly. My name's Luke Slabaugh. I love St. Louis. Here with my partner in crime, Judy Strawder, the number one Battlehawks fan. Judy, how are we feeling heading into week 4?
I'm excited. I think that we are going to rebound, and it's going to be good. I do still hope to see Max start on Saturday.
So we're jumping right into it. You want a quarterback change. We saw a lot of comments on the YouTube stream after the game. I want to thank you all for watching. If this is your first time here on Sports Hub STL, we're presented by DraftKings, also presented by Hot Shots, best place to watch games since 1990 in St. Louis, and of course, Lee's famous chicken recipe. More on that a little bit later. But you're going right into quarterback battles as St. Louis is middle of the pack in quarterback stats with Manny Wilkins under center. Why, Judy? Why now?
Well, I think that last Sunday was very evident that it's time for us to try something different, and even in our chat, our fans were telling us, time for a quarterback change. And our one fan even said, he's like, I'm not going to, essentially, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I've been talking about it all day. It's just, we have to have a change. I think that, yeah, I'm just ready to see what Max can do.
Max Duggan, we're referring to, the former Heisman finalist at TCU, latched on with the LA Chargers for a bit in the NFL and has had limited playing time, usually in garbage time, on the end of the St. Louis Battlehawks win. St. Louis turned over the ball 4 times in last week's 27-15 loss to the DC Defenders at home, first loss in the Battle Dome in 2 years. Anthony Becht, after the game, head coach, said, you can't win in this league even with 1 turnover. The margin of error is so slim. So for Wilkins to throw 3 picks across his body into blatant coverage, just missing people, it didn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. And moving on to visit the Arlington Renegades, one of the best defenses in the league, and we'll touch on that in a little bit, they're going to need a balanced attack because that team is so good against the run. They are led by head coach Bob Stoops, former national champion at Oklahoma, terrorized my Missouri Tigers for many years in the Big 12, and in this late act of his career, already has an XFL championship underneath his belt 2 years ago. They know how to sniff out a run game. They have stayed in a game and not been able to flinch, despite also having a loss to their credit. They're 2-1. The Battlehawks are 2-1. It's an 11:30 kick on Saturday. What is the plan for this Saturday, Judy?
Well, and to talk about their one loss, it's to the Stallions, and we know that, all they do is win. So really, their loss comes against a great team. But I'm excited that we have an early game since the Blues play at 5. All my sports are going to work out on Saturday. We start kickoff at 11:30. I haven't decided if I'm going to watch at home or if I'm going to go to Murphy's on 21 and watch the game. So one of the 2 places.
I remember the last time the St. Louis Blues played the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup playoff series, and it worked out pretty darn well. So I'm rooting for them. Anytime. We have great post-game shows as well on Sports Hub STL, again, sponsored by DraftKings. Going back to that Birmingham Stallions, Arlington Renegades game on Friday on Fox, it was a primetime game, 10-9 final, but really kind of a Bush League final drive. Quarterback Matt Corral for Birmingham throws what appears to be a blatant pick downfield to cornerback Sam Jones. Arlington thinks they have the interception and the game is over on the game's final drive. Retroactively, they go to the booth upstairs and they go to the command center, Mike Pereira and the UFL, and they call a false start pre-snap, which, since it's a procedural penalty, wipes out that play entirely. And then, of course, Birmingham converts a first down and they go on to get the game-tying touchdown and 1-point conversion to win 10-9. It was a heartbreaker for the Renegades, who probably should be undefeated, and also just absolutely crush it on defense. They are allowing 73 rush yards per game, which is by far the fewest in the league. It is going to be a hard game for this O-line and for Jacob Sailors, who we've really loved these first few games, Judy.
Yes. And you said earlier talking about, a balanced approach, and that's what Wilkins doesn't have. There's not a balanced approach that we don't have, the passing and the running. It's just running. So if we don't do something different this game, then we can expect the same result that we got last Sunday.
There have been flashes of brilliance out of Manny Wilkins. We saw that touchdown pass about 35 yards to Frank Darby. But yes, Phil McGeegan, this is going to be a legacy game for this Battlehawks offense, which again is tops in the league and was impressive until DC kind of snuffed them out. But that's life. Arlington Renegades as well allow the lowest conversion rate on third down in the league, 26%. So it is incumbent on the offensive line and quarterback Manny Wilkins to have a good game plan intact and no getting behind the sticks, no penalties. Arlington has also struggled to put points on the board. They won at Houston, or they beat Houston by putting up 11 points, and they scored 9 against Birmingham. It'll be hard to see where the advantage is. It might have to be in a downfield passing game or some passing attack that's not just bubble screens to the outside or throwing behind the sticks to Sailors and Jarvie and Howard and all those. Would love to see some more play action. Would love to see some downfield passing. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure when Butler's coming back. I know he's had a nagging hamstring issue, but it would be awesome if he were back this week and to, breathe some more life, give some more options to the offense. That would be exciting.
In terms of matchups, we would love to have Hakeem Butler back. On Arlington's side, I am looking at a former Battlehawk from the 2020 incarnation of the team. Safety Joe Powell had his first interception of the season against Birmingham last week. 31 years old, heck of a player, heck of a teammate, a leader on this Arlington team. Coach Bob Stoops saying that he's the best, he's a ball hawk. Went to the Globe Institute of Technology in New York, a junior college that no longer exists, and then went on to be a star in the indoor and arena football leagues of the United States. Latched on with the Bills and Giants in training camp and practice squads, but that's about it, and won a championship with Arlington in 2023. Arlington, despite being vulnerable in the secondary and giving up a lot of passing yards, still leads the league in passes defended. So leave it to an OG Battlehawk to be one of the players to watch this coming Saturday. In terms of our players and St. Louis's players, who you got your eye on?
I think having our defense stay on point will be huge this week. So always like seeing Travis Feeney and Peta and Mike Rose. So yeah, defense. I've got my eye on the defense to keep us in the game.
They go up against one of the premier passers in the league out of Texas A&M Commerce, Luis Perez. Completed 26 of 38 last week against Birmingham, and that was the best game in terms of completions made by a quarterback in the UFL this year. 68% completion percentage, which is pretty darn good. Also has a game with 20, which is the second best finish in a game. And he's thrown to 8 different receivers. Arlington defense as well has held opponents to 3 points or fewer in the first half in each game. That is quite huge. And their tight end as well, Sal Cannella, 6 catches for 52 yards last week. So this is a formidable opponent, a team that pulled out an XFL championship the lone year that the XFL independently had its own title, and now is looking to be la creme de la creme, so to speak, here tops in the league. You mentioned the Battlehawks defense. They also had a couple of picks last week that led to field goals on each succeeding drive. We've really liked what we've seen, Judy, out of Rodrigo Blankenship so far.
Very, very much. The guy is a beast. He's pretty awesome.
And we mentioned, the TikTok videos, the reels, the specific fan base of him. But what is it that you really like out of seeing him play in St. Louis and succeed?
Well, the fan part of it is fun, but I mean, he's kind of like a sure thing. He's going to come on the field. He's going to make the play. That part is nice from the play perspective to just to be able to count on him and know he's going to come
Made it.
through.
Yeah, and he's made it as far as 56 yards, his longest field goal. And that sure thing that you mentioned brings up shades of Greg the Leg Zerline and kickers of
Yeah.
yore, and the Edward Jones Dome, formerly known as, is that when the fans can attach themselves and know that they're getting a guaranteed thing, he's just been absolutely nailed.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I love how you brought that up because that's exactly what was going through my mind. And it's so comforting to have that when everything else might be going shaky. You have that one player that you can count on. With Cardinals closers, it was not always that. They weren't the sure thing, but with Rodrigo, I kind of feel like he is our sure thing.
Mentioning Cardinals closers in the past, there was Jason Isringhausen with that 44 save season, and then Rosenthal, Kevin Segrist, Swan O, and then just moving towards Helsley now. There was that
Yeah.
Giovanni Gallegos experiment. That was fun.
Oh yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We are going to wrap things up really quickly, but any final thoughts before we get in our sponsors toss to ad copy and give it the old wrap here?
I'm excited for a Saturday day game. Early in the day, I think St. Louis the viewership will be there. I mean, we're all excited. We're just excited to see our team win all day on Saturday. But I think that this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a chance for us to show what we can do after a loss, how we are going to come back out and kind of redeem ourselves, to make sure that the rest of the league knows that we are here to win the championship. The fact that we've been given another chance to host, we need to be there. And so I can't wait to see how we rebound from this and what we put out on the field.
The league runs through STL, and it depends on STL. Trying to promote the heck out of this league, as our producer and fearless leader Joe Roderick said before we went live today. We want to give a shout out first to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, one of the main sponsors on this show. You can get that famous recipe chicken, Battlehawks Box. Score up to 30% off Battlehawks tickets, plus get 4 of their famous breast strips and a side of potato wedges for just $8.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken. Also, big shout out to Hot Shots, home of STL Sports since 1990. Plus, Sports Hub STL, always brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
And that's it for Battlehawks Hub Weekly, St. Louis and Arlington, 11:30 kick on Saturday on ABC. We don't need to be up on Easter Sunday for this. Let's get it out of the way. She's Judy Straughter. I'm Luke Slabaugh. Judy, can you give me one last good call?
Good call.